someone ask.
Yeah!
Let them know you listen to WBOK 1230 AM. WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. The measles outbreak is spreading across 4 states with 23 cases in Kansas linked to nearly 400 in Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. Most Kansas cases are in unvaccinated children. Nationwide, 42 people are hospitalized and 1 unvaccinated child has died. Multiple U.S. states are bracing for severe weather. Thunderstorms in the Pacific Northwest, up to a foot of snow in Idaho, and heavy rain in Texas with up to 3 inches per hour expected. Vice President Vance and his wife will visit a U.S. space base in Greenland on Friday to appease Denmark instead of touring Greenland's capital and heritage sites. The U.S. delegation will avoid major Greenlandic settlements. And Philadelphia honored Will Smith by naming a block of North 59th Street as Will Smith Way. Smith reminisced about his high school days, and Mayor Parker praised his pride in his roots. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The New Orleans Teacher Job Board is hosting a citywide career fair for current and future educators. Explore open school positions, teacher certification pathways, and career growth opportunities. The career fair will take place this Saturday, April 5th, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. at Walter L. Cohen High School. Visit newschoolsforneworleans.org for more information and registration.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Wake up, New Orleans. Good morning. Happy Thursday, and welcome to the Good Morning Show. It is still March, so it is still Women's History Month. So shout out to all the trailblazing, trend-setting women. We're going to celebrate you each and every day here on WBOK 1230 AM. It is also 2 days before Election Day. So on Saturday, March 29th, you have to go to the polls. There are 4 proposed constitutional amendments on the ballot, and we're asking you to vote no across the board. So please make certain that you visit Power Coalition's website so you can see the breakdown of the amendments for yourself. It's very thoroughly broken down as well. It tells you what a yes vote would mean, what a no vote would mean, and it actually gives you the verbiage of each and every proposed constitutional amendment. So please do your part. Get up, get out, and go vote. And if you've already early voted, get up anyway and make certain that you could encourage some folk to go to the polls. Go in your text messages and just send a message out to everybody. Let them know vote no across the board, and to get in that line before 8 p.m. You have all day, 7 to 8 on Saturday, March 29th, to go and vote. Also on Saturday, March 29th, there is an Amistad Research Center book sale. It is happening from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., 6823 St. Charles Avenue in New Orleans. And it says, this is a rare opportunity to own a piece of Black history and support the Amistad Research Center. And that is by way of Executive Director, Ms. Katie Hambrick. Amistad Research Center book sale happening this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So you can go grab you a book on the same day you go vote. Look, education is liberation. Please go out and vote. And as we're talking about this, these proposed constitutional amendments, your governor is working overtime. He posted on his social media, and he is imploring teachers. He's really using Amendment 2 aimed at teachers. And the article says Jeff Landry makes case for Amendment 2 in Baton Rouge. Our moment in this state is now. Did you hear that? I heard what that sounded like. Our moment in this state is now. That is what the article's heading says. It says, with 3 days left before a statewide vote on 4 amendments to the Louisiana Constitution, Governor Jeff Landry brought to Baton Rouge his statewide push to build support for one that is crucial to his agenda. Because I keep telling folk, everywhere we go with these panels, I keep telling folk Amendment number 2 is his baby. That's the one that he really, really wants. In a speech to the Rotary Club of Baton Rouge on Wednesday, Landry urged voters to support Amendment 2, part of his larger effort to rewrite Louisiana's tax laws. The pitch for the tax overhaul was the centerpiece of a wide-ranging speech in which he emphasized that Louisiana sits at an inflection point. Our opportunity, our moment in this state is now, and it has been placed in your hands, Landry said. If approved by voters Saturday, Amendment 2 will rewrite swaths of the part of the Constitution that governs state taxes. It will lower the cap on the individual income tax rate from 4.75% to 3.75%, with seniors able to double their income tax deduction, put many tax exemptions in state law instead of the Constitution, limit state spending increases, and restructure government funds designated for specific purposes, such as health and education, by altering some and eliminating others entirely. It will build into the state budget a temporary, now the article says temporary, but on your governor's pages and everywhere he goes, he calls it a permanent $2,000 teacher pay raise stipend approved by the Louisiana legislature last year by liquidating 3 education trust funds. So which is it, Governor? Is it temporary or is it permanent? I know it's not real. Either way you want to slice that cake. That amendment will lock in the reforms that will provide the largest tax cut in the history of this state, and it will be accompanied by fiscal reforms that will benefit this state for a long time. So says the governor. Now, I ain't the one to gossip, so you ain't heard that from me. But anytime you have a bill that is over 100 pages long and they condense it to 91 words, you got to ask yourself, what is it that I don't know about what's hidden in this bill? Because to pander it to teachers, and he literally wrote that on his social media, basically saying, if this does not pass, the teachers won't get a pay raise. If it passed, they get a permanent pay raise. But the article is referring to this stipend as a temporary pay stipend. So this is where I have a problem with media and journalists and folk who go out and ask these questions and write these articles. Like, we need to be able to push back on things when we know they're not true. If you know it's a temporary one because you read the bill yourself and you listening to your legislators, and you're going to these panels, then how come we allow him to call it a permanent one and put it in writing? Because sometimes what folk read, they take it as law. If it's coming by way of the news media in print, people who are reading that are thinking it has to be true. Why else would they write it? So the article, kudos to the writer of this article. The person is calling it a temporary pay stipend, whereas we're allowing the governor to go on a tour calling it a permanent pay raise for teachers, and it's not. It's not a permanent stipend. It's not even a raise. Like, we have to make certain that we go to the polls and vote these things down, and we're talking about all 4 of them. All 4 of them. The article goes on to say that amendment will lock in the reforms that will provide the largest tax cut in the history of this state, and it will be accompanied by fiscal reforms that will benefit this state for a long time, so says the governor. Landry has campaigned for the passage of the amendment around the state. He's made the case on radio shows. He hasn't come here. Come on now, Governor, come talk to me. 504-582-9422. Come to WBOK and explain to us why you're calling this something that will benefit the state for a long time. Why are you saying this is a pay raise for teachers when we know you're blowing up education as we know it to be able to get this done? I want to hear from you. You made the case on other radio shows. Come to this one. In newspaper editorials and in speeches to local groups, notable advocacy organizations, including the Louisiana Federation of Teachers. Yeah, we talk about you, Larry Carter. I have a problem with you supporting this. The Louisiana Association of Educators, shame on you too. The LAE. The Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, that does not surprise me. And the Pelican Institute for Policy, that does not surprise me. But who surprises me is the Louisiana Federation of Teachers and the Louisiana Association of Educators. Because if I'm an educator and I just happen to be in a union somewhere, and my union is telling me, or the people who I trust for information as it pertains to policy, are telling me that this is a good thing, I may not do any due diligence. I may not attend any panels. I may not listen to what my legislator is saying, because the people who I pay my dues to, the people who are supposed to be the entity that protects teachers, that protects our due process, they're supporting this amendment. So it got to be giving us a raise. If they're supporting it, that's the way they will look at it. And it's so shameful that the Louisiana Federation of Teachers and the Louisiana Association of Educators is supporting this, when early childhood could be on the chopping block, when the entire infrastructure of K-12 could be at stake. How do you support this? And here's the thing. I absolutely want teachers to get a pay raise. Let me be clear about that, because you know y'all like sound bites. Y'all might, oh, she don't support teachers. Absolutely do. I'm an educator. I believe I was born to be an educator. So yes, we do want teachers to get a pay raise. We absolutely do. They deserve it. And then we wouldn't have to keep begging for pay raises if you just paid us our weight to begin with. Just give us the salary we deserve to begin with, and you wouldn't have to be robbing Peter and you're still not paying Paul to give us the raise or give us the stipend. Why are we living off stipends, Governor? Why are we going every year begging for a pay raise? Just give us what we're supposed to be making, and we wouldn't even have to use teachers every time there's a campaign going on, promising them something and giving them nothing in return. Because that's a big voter block. The teacher block, that's a huge voting block. And if you could convince them to vote against their own interests, that's what you're going to do. And you're going to be just like your mentor. You're going to be saying, like he promised to bring down the cost of groceries and eggs on the first day. Well, we really don't control that. I mean, y'all might need to go get y'all some chickens. Get you a coop. Yeah, that's what he's saying. That's what you're going to do. When the teachers realize that they don't get a pay raise, you're going to be somewhere saying, well, we tried. But when we looked at the numbers and we were trying to, trim the fat here and there, we just couldn't make it work. That's what you're going to tell the teachers, because this is not a permanent pay raise. This is insane, right? It says, in response to criticism over the tax breaks, Landry said the amendment would preserve the homestead exemption and the exemption for religious organizations. That's another big voting block. Now you got to try to convince the pastors, right, that you're not going to touch their exemption. But it's only for the sanctuary. If they have any additional properties, that tax exemption won't cover that. It says, now I just signed the bill to put the 10 Commandments in school. You think I would do anything to harm our religious organizations in the state? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because putting 10 Commandments in the school is a paper trophy. It means absolutely nothing. Absolutely. Y'all gonna hang the 10 Commandments, and one of them said, thou shalt not kill, but y'all looking for ways to celebrate the execution of people in this very state. Y'all have to stop with the hypocrisy. Because the only time this state actually love black children is when they born. Y'all pro-birth. Y'all not pro-life. Y'all sure not pro-black life, because y'all saying kids who look like me are doomed at the age of 2. That's the rhetoric going on up there at the legislature. That's what y'all saying. So what 10 Commandments what that's going to mean? Just like the Constitution, y'all don't look at that document as covering folk that look like me. That's why y'all trying to rewrite it to go back to an era when it had no bearing on our lives. It did not pertain to us and still don't in many ways. Talking about he signed the bill to put the 10 Commandments. Everybody don't share the same faith. What about the kids whose faith don't align with the 10 Commandments? What you gotta have to hang their religious beliefs up in the classroom too, sir. It don't work like that. But then again, that's why y'all trying to blow up the United States Federal Department of Education. That's why y'all trying to do it. So the state can have all of the rights to tell us who, what, when, where, and how as it relates to our children and their education. Because you don't believe in public schools. In his speech, Landry called the election a defining moment for Louisiana. He said it's an opportunity for the state to escape its boom and bust cycles. If the people would permit the legislator and Landry himself to continue the success. I know y'all not used to so much good news. Y'all are like shocked. I'm reading this the way I'm sure he said it. That's the problem we have in this state. We got a group of people out there. They just don't know how to win. Well, I'm not even mad at your last statement. There's a group of people out there that just don't know how to win. Yeah, I'm not mad at that statement, because what I do know, what I hear you say is you are by any means necessary type of person, win at all costs type of person, don't care who you hurt type of person. Y'all are savages when it come down to winning. Winning. You will buy whatever, you will sell whatever, you will cut whatever just to win. I'm not even mad at it. I actually like when you tell me who you are. When you flew the MAGA flag on the governor's mansion, I was mad because that's our tax dollars, but I wasn't mad at the fact that you showed me who you were. And I'm not mad at that. I like a wolf to show up like a wolf. I don't like wolves masking themselves in sheep clothing. That's what I don't like. But I see you, Mr. Governor. I'm not even much mad at you, because we do have a group of people out there that don't know how to win. We do. We do. We do. And so here is the challenge. On March the 29th, we need to try to figure out if we the group of people that he think don't know how to win. Because he's predicting a 12% turnout, no higher than 18%. That came from his mouth. Oh, what I would give to see us show up and show out, even if it's only the city of New Orleans, because we know what the state gonna do. Majority of them follow lockstep with that MAGA mentality. We understand it. But what I would give to see Baton Rouge send a message, New Orleans send a message, Caddo Parish send a message, what I would give to see it. He might turn redder than a turnip in the face. What I would give to see it. Because they got a group of people out there that just don't know how to win. That's what the governor said. He playing in our face. Because he believes, just like his MAGA mentor believes he runs the country, this governor believes that he could do whatever he wants in this state. And nobody gonna check him. But you could do that at the polls, though, on March the 29th. The polls open at 7, they close at 8, and we're asking you to vote no across the board. Because I'm going to tell you what else he got going on for you. I'm going to let you know about it, and then we're going to talk about it. While he's aiming to incarcerate more children and try them and charge them as adults, he want to send more and more children to adult facilities. And, you know, I was just hosting or moderating a panel where our current sheriff, Susan Hudson, appeared. And she's echoing the sentiments of sheriffs all over because they're having a crisis of how to house 17-year-olds in adult facilities because they can't even share the same spaces as the adults. So then that makes it a space issue, a bed issue. And now you're going to be responsible, should the governor have his way, with housing children as young as 14. So while he's doing that, while he's looking for a way to lock up more and more children as adults, guess what he out there doing? Alexandria's Renaissance, they actually use the word Renaissance, Alexandria's Renaissance Juvenile Facility to receive $39 million investment. You really can't make this up. The Renaissance Juvenile Facility in Alexandria is set to receive a multi-million-dollar investment from the state of Louisiana. On March 25th, Governor Jeff Landry joined the public servants and elected officials across the region and state in announcing a major investment with a $39 million price tag to the Renaissance Juvenile Facility. He said, Louisiana is on the move. I want the people in this area to know that this is an investment, that these are one of the facilities we hope we really never feel. Oh, no, you don't hope you don't feel it because you wouldn't have built it. Who are you talking to? Don't play with us. Play with somebody else. And then he said, these are one. These, I didn't write these. He said these, referring to one, but he said these. Probably should have said this, but he said, these are one of the facilities we hope we really never have to fill. So where the rest of the facilities at? Are you telling us that you're getting ready to build all sorts of juvenile detention centers all over the state? The investment will expand Renaissance's campus by adding a modern, secure facility, making it sound like a country club. A portion of those funds will go to renovating its existing dorms. These facilities give our juveniles an opportunity to be rehabilitated. You can rehabilitate them without introducing them to the judicial system, but I'm just, the messenger. We don't need recidivism. What we want are productive members of society, and we want our kids to behave. We want our kids to behave. The state's investment will provide sustainable funding to support the facility and help to keep juvenile offenders local. Here go Heather Cloud, y'all. Y'all know Heather. She like to co-sign bills that don't have nothing to do with her. I think Heather out of Turkey Creek. I think that's where she come from. This is going to bring our juveniles back home. Senator Heather Cloud, Republican out of District 28. Not only are we able to keep our juveniles in pre-adjudicated settings here, but we're also, through the legislature and through the grant program that we have, we're able to provide sustainable funding. She said these improvements has been 20 years in the making. Don't you like when they tell us what they've been doing? I keep telling y'all, these people play the long game. They don't decide today to put something in action tomorrow. They started this plan 20 years ago, per the senator. 20 years ago. Renaissance was created in 1972 with a vision of creating a community-based receiving home for youth. I need to go visit Renaissance because they make it sound like it's like you could go get you a facial and a foot massage over there. I need to go visit Renaissance. Maybe we all need to take a trip and see what kind of rehabilitation they're doing for our children over there. We're going to keep talking about it right here on WBOK. Pop, I'm going to catch you on the other side of the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
That's right. It's party time each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on WBOK. It's the Throwback Throwdown with DJ Wick as he brings you the best in old school from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2Ks. Plus, the party goes to another level at 9 p.m. with the Throwback Throwdown Party Mix to round out the night. It's the Throwback Throwdown Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 AM and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
Good morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. 4 people are accused of leading street takeovers using vehicles and pedestrians to block roads in high-traffic areas in New Orleans. State police say one of these incidents happened on Mardi Gras Day on Chef Mentor Highway. Troopers say some of the arrests escalated into chases across the city. Brody Gotro, Kane Smith, and Deontay Belvin and Adele Nashir are all facing various charges. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell could be heading to the nation's capital on the same day a judge has scheduled a hearing on the city's council's employee travel ban. Mayor Cantrell is listed as a U.S. delegator for a trade summit happening tomorrow. That includes mayors from Canada and Mexico. Supporters of the travel ban say there are more pressing matters here at home than meeting with mayors across North America and D.C. Cantrell's office has not responded to our requests about if she will attend the conference. Our big changes could be heading for the University of New Orleans. The Louisiana Board of Regents recommended moving UNO back to the LSU system. The move is intended to help with the university's budget crisis. UNO has been grappling with a $10 million budget gap recently and made the tough move to fire and furlough some employees. The next steps are the creation of a transition team, but legislation is still required to make the move happen. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My super producer, Nara Sanders, is also in the building this morning. Good morning, Pop Jones. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Dr. Wise. How you doing?
I'm great.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing to hear. me being a person of faith, I believe that a house divided against itself cannot stand. And I also be encouraged. And I'm saying that because even there, I hear why a lot of young people don't vote, and people are somewhat making excuses for that. Or why they don't vote. They got other people say other people don't vote, or they should vote for a third party, and all this kind of stuff I hear. But that's why we got what we got. By not voting, we get what we get right here in the city, in the state, and in the country. So I don't understand why those that don't go out and vote and those that look like don't encourage, because even though they may vote themselves, but they're saying, I understand why people, I don't understand nothing. I'm not going to make that statement. No, I don't understand. Because that's why we in the mess we in now. By not going out and vote, Dr. Wise.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Pop. I appreciate you. Listen, we absolutely have to get out and vote. And here's the thing. I understand some perspectives of voter apathy. I get it. But we can't afford it. That's the problem. Because once you share your grievance with why there's an issue with voting being the answer, then once you share that grievance, now what? What's next? Because we surely can't sit on the sidelines. We can't tap out. We can't just give in. That's not going to solve anything. And we are not a monolith. We can chew gum and walk at the same time. So we can vote and still look for additional solutions to why the conditions of our communities are the way that they are. We can still do that. We can vote and still do that. We don't have to stop voting and try to figure out how to do that or talk about why it's not happening. We can vote and still look for better ways, more efficient ways, sustainable ways to improve our communities. But we can't tap out in terms of our civic responsibility and our civic duty. We just can't afford to do that. And so that's just where I'm at with that, right? There's no reason for us to give in. And there's an article on Think 504. The title of it says, Democrats are fighting back in Congress, the courts, and with the community. Those are the 3 C's. So I know this article was authored by the Congressman, Troy Carter. And it says, we will not stand by, we will not give in. And we are fighting back hard against the unconstitutional, illegal, and dangerous actions of Donald Trump and his unelected billionaire co-conspirator Elon Musk. Across the country, Democrats are using every tool available to defend democracy and the rule of law. Already, over 100 court filings have challenged executive overreach, policy violations, and coordinated attacks on our institutions. These legal actions are not symbolic. They are strategic, targeted, and firmly rooted in the Constitution and the values that bind this nation together. In Congress, we are introducing legislation to shine a light on the toxic alliance between government power and unchecked corporate influence. Committees are launching investigations and holding hearings to expose corruption and demand accountability. We will not allow extremists to hijack the people's house or turn it into a playground for the powerful. And most importantly, we are standing with communities in every corner of America, from town halls and protests to grassroots organizing and online mobilization. Millions are rising up to demand justice. This movement is built on unity, truth, and an unshakable commitment to our shared future. So this is not just resistance. This is a full-throated defense of democracy, and we are all in. This is Congressman Troy A. Carter Sr., United States Congressman, Louisiana's 2nd District. And so, I mean, I do know that there are people who are challenging this administration. But I also know that this administration is also thinking beyond these challenges, which is why they're now, the Speaker of the House, out of his mouth during a press conference or being interviewed by the media, they're now attacking the actual federal court system. They're attacking judges now. They're talking about, he said that with Congress, they have the power to wipe out entire federal the judgeship system. Like it's amazing to me how, because they are so married to the idea of white supremacy, that they will implode the foundation that this whole idea of our United States system, the whole, like the land of the free. Like y'all really need to, like, in a minute y'all gonna have to rewrite anthems and everything else, pledges of allegiance and everything, like y'all, because none of it is gonna make sense. And just like France asking for their statue back because this country no longer represents the values by which they gifted it to you, with liberty and justice for all, where? Land of the free, home of the brave. Brave? I just, there's nothing brave about acquiescing to a billionaire benefactor and a megamaniac. There's nothing brave about that. These people are deplorable. And we have folk in positions of authority to stand up against it, but they're so afraid to speak up. Because what are you worried about? Not being reelected? You can't think about the next election. You got to worry about the one you're in right now. Like you're holding a seat right now. You owe it to the people who you represent right now, not this fairy tale about when you run again. And who cares if you don't win a seat again? Do your job right now. Because this is insane what we're being forced to deal with here. I don't know if you saw it, but for a party, the Republican Party, so hell-bent on trying to censure Jasmine Crockett for her Hot Wheels comment, which she's clarified. Now, do I believe that it was shade on her part? I absolutely believe it. But do I believe her when she gave her explanation? I absolutely do. Because I could be truthful and shady at the same time. Right? Because, I mean, we're talking about a governor who is wheelchair bound, who also believes in blowing up the Department of Education, where a lot of funding comes from for folk with disabilities, children with disabilities. So for a party that's they're so concerned about decorum and trying to, put her in her place. And here go Marjorie Taylor Greene, the not so gentle lady, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was having a presser, because they were talking about the committee that she chairs, that she went out there to talk about that. But as you know, everybody's talking about Signalgate. Everybody's talking about it. So clearly you had to know you were going to be asked a question about Signalgate. So Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene told a well-known British journalist to F off at the end of an on-camera interview when asked about a conspiracy theory she had espoused. In the clip, former BBC journalist and newsreader Emily Maitlis, who now hosts a daily podcast, The New Agents, stopped Greene for an interview at former president and 2024 candidate Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida after his win on Super Tuesday. She started by asking Greene what the message should be within Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley. Now, they're giving you the background because they're showing you her pattern, right? They're showing you her pattern, but I don't even care to talk about her pattern. We're going to talk about the current thing she did. So there's a journalist asked her about the Signal app. And soon as the journalist started to ask the question, she was from the UK. She said, "What country are you from?" And she said, "We don't give a crap about what's going on. Worry about what's going on in your country. Don't ask me nothing about. Worry about the migrants raping your women. Don't ask me." Literally, this is a sitting congressional member of Congress. Like, this is what she said to a journalist on air. Like, it wasn't like they were in a private room. She knew the media would be there. She knew they were there. And that's what she said. What country are you from? And then she told the journalist to go back to her country. But these are the folks talking about decorum. These are the folks who are talking about decorum. It says, Marjorie Taylor Greene insults British reporter after being asked about the Signal group chat. The lady literally said it's putting the soldiers at risk. That's all she was asking. And she literally said, what country are you from? In response, the lady said the UK. She told her to go back to her country. Worry about her border. Worry about the migrants raping their women. Don't come asking her nothing about their country. I don't know if we understand the direction this country is going in. These people are so awful when you're asking them about the Signal app and the breach there. Now they're saying, Michael Waltz is saying that the journalist somehow hacked the Signal group and put himself in the thread. But here's the problem with that. It says, while United States President Donald Trump has conceded that the Signal group chat scandal is an unfortunate glitch, quite the understatement, right? His national security advisor, Mike Waltz, has sought to attack the Atlantic hack who broke the story, editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg, by suggesting he hacked his way into the discussion about strikes and targets in Yemen. Yes. That's despite Waltz himself accepting that he set up the Signal group in question, and Trump positioning that an associate of Waltz was the one who added Goldberg. Of course, I didn't see this loser in the group. He looked like someone else. Now, whether he did it deliberately or it happened in some other technical means is something we're trying to figure out. These people are now saying the journalist hacked his way into the group. You do know he had to be sent a request to join the group, and then he accepted the request to join the group. They also lied and said there was no talks of strategy, of targets, of any secured conversations. And so the Atlantic said, since you're going to lie on me, I'm going to tell the truth about y'all. Here you go, the text. And they put the text out. You have Tulsi sitting in a Senate committee hearing, lying, perjuring herself, saying she didn't know. She don't know. She wouldn't answer any question. But she's on the thread. And she happened to be in a foreign country at the time when they were having the conversations. You really can't make this up. These are the same people, Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, the same people who said when you breach the trust or you breach sensitive data, you deserve to be handled to the full extent of the law. But now that they're a part of the breach, now they're acting as if they never said it. That's not the standard. That's not the criteria. They're blaming everything on the journalist. It's his fault. He hacked his way into a secure channel. Why are y'all even talking about war plans in a group chat? Certainly there has to be a better platform to have these conversations with this government that spend billions of dollars on war. Certainly the channels you use to discuss war plans should be more secure than a Signal app. I don't know what you say, Cedric. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Wyatt. I'm glad you said what you said in terms of pretty much don't give up on voting. You know, we can't give up on voting. And to the WBOK family, if we look at what's happening at the federal level, and then you come down to the state level, and if you look at it, it's happening at the city level. I pray to God that our city leaders, as well as the clergy and we, the ordinary people, come together. Otherwise, we will lose governance, a representation of people that mean us well here in the city of New Orleans. And whoever Governor Landry is supporting for mayor, they will not get my support. I take issue to folk like Newell Norman talking bad about Oliver Thomas. Am I asking people to support Oliver Thomas? No, I'm not. But let's be transparent. Why did you step down so abruptly from being the sheriff in Jefferson Parish? Was it to save your pension or what? Talk about everybody. Everybody. Don't just talk about this gentleman who paid his debt to society, who's remorseful. Let's call us, as you say, Dr. Wyatt, let's call a thing a thing. Let's talk about the wreck that Helena Moreno had and somebody was killed. Let's just bring it out there about everybody, like I bring out about myself. Voting is a part of our change. Now, we need to put different people in office, and then we need to hold them accountable. Thank you for your show. Thank you, WBOK. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Shedrick. Listen, it's important that I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine. We talk every day now about the political landscape in New Orleans, and he and I were talking, and one of the things we talked about was this idea that in order for us to have an informed populace, we have to have elected officials and folks in positions of power telling the truth about what the dynamics are here so that people can make informed decisions. Because if your record is what your record is, then just tell the truth about your record. You don't really have to throw no dirt at nobody if your record can hold its own weight. Then let's talk about it, right? And if you believe in your candidate, then you don't have to smear another person or talk down on another person, especially when you're not telling the truth. Now, if it's the truth, then you got to just respect the truth. But here's the thing. A lot of the times we are muddying the waters on purpose. We're throwing things out there just to see what sticks, right? And so as it relates to the mayoral race, I want to make certain that we at WBOK do our job in an unbiased way, because I'm very, very, very intentional about that. We're going to give every candidate an opportunity to share this platform and to talk to us about their platform and what they're going to bring to the table, because our job here is to inform you. Our job is not to lean into who we believe is our pick, but it's our job to make certain we inform you so you can make the choice that you want to make for yourself, your community, your household, your way of living. That's what our job is to do, is put it out there. And here's the thing, and if we say something about a candidate based on an article that we're referencing and the candidate takes issue with it, then the number here is 504-582-9422. You could call it, you could come by. Because unlike any other place, we welcome everybody's perspective over here. We ain't gonna block out nobody's opportunity to share their platforms with the community, because it is our job to make certain that we make informed decisions around here. Because I do know that Councilman Oliver Thomas is in the race. I do know that he's contemplating having the Orleans Parish Police Chief an elected position. I do know that another candidate in the race, former Judge Arthur Hunter, has responded to that by saying we don't need to put politics in policing. That's a conversation I want to have with both of them. I love it. You have a stance, you going to refute the stance, let's talk about it. And I ask questions. I'm going to ask the questions that need to be asked. Y'all going to drop the questions in the chat and I'm going to ask them. So that's what this platform is for. We ain't going to lean any which way. And if the other folk in the race, which would be Councilwoman Helena Moreno, Miss Renata Collins, and there's a guy by the last name of Twiggs. I need to find that man's full name so I can just stop saying his last name. But I know it's Twiggs. If they have an issue with someone's platform initiative and they address it publicly, we're going to talk about it publicly. But we have to go to break. But when we come back, I'm going to dive into that. Since Shedrick set the table, Councilman Oliver Thomas wants to make the police chief position elected. Former Judge Arthur Hunter, who is also a candidate for New Orleans mayor, he has come out with a public statement saying that we don't need to put politics in policing. Y'all stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Mild and muggy Thursday expected. Mostly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers possible. Most of us will stay dry. Highs reach the low 80s. Lows are warm tonight in the low to mid 60s. Few afternoon showers possible for Friday. Highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. Heavy rain possible throughout the day on Saturday. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-335-2299. That's 800-335-2299.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Stove, Pastor David Impartan Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Welcome to The Community Scientist. I'm excited to bring you our quarterly review of the latest research. If you live or work in St. James, St. John's, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard parishes, it's vital that you have access to clear, objective information about lead, hexavalent chromium, and cadmium, and how these substances impact your health and our natural environment. The Community Scientist is a service program of Rise St. James, supported by our dedicated TCS research team. To learn more, visit risestjames.org.
In recognition of Women's History Month, WBOK 1230 AM presents Her Story Spotlight, honoring extraordinary women whose achievements have redefined what's possible.
This is Monica Pierre joining WBOK as we celebrate Women's History Month. Madam C.J. Walker, making the impossible possible. The daughter of formerly enslaved parents, Sarah Breedlove, who had become known as Madam C.J. Walker, had a tough life in the beginning. Orphaned at 7, married at 14, and widowed at 20, she spent the better part of the next 2 decades laboring as a washerwoman for $150 a week. Then everything changed, and by her death in 1919, Walker managed to overcome astonishing odds. She built her own storied beauty empire from the ground up, even on her own ground, amassed wealth unprecedented among Black women, and devoted her life to philanthropy and social activism. And along the way, She formed friendships with great early 20th century political figures such as Ida B. Wells and Mary McLeod Bethune. Her business model involved both mail order sales and door-to-door sales. Walker's saleswomen were called Walker agents, and they did more than just sell products. They too became philanthropists. And one agent even said Walker opened up a trade for hundreds of black women to make an honest and profitable living where they made as much in 1 week as many made in an entire month. She died at an early age of 51, and in her will, Madam C.J. Walker directed 2/3 of her estate's future net profits to charity organizations. This is Monica Pierre along with WBOK celebrating Women's History Month.
WBOK 1230 AM celebrates Women's History Month and the visionaries and innovators who broke barriers and paved the way for generations to come.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Happy Thursday, y'all. Happy Women's History Month. Look, I dropped a question in the chat. I know somebody gonna help me figure this out. Miss Alicia, I know you listening. Is the qualifying June or July? Is it June 11 or July 9th? I need to know when qualifying is for the mayoral race because we have to jump right back into this conversation. And so the article, and I found out the guy's name. Here are the declared Democratic Party candidates for the mayoral seat. Renata Collins, she's listed as a business coach. Former Judge Arthur Hunter. Current Councilwoman Helena Moreno, she's listed here as the president of the New Orleans City Council. Oliver Thomas, he's a council member representing District E. And Ricky Twiggs, he's listed as a licensed counselor. So those are the declared candidates for the mayoral seat. So here is what we were talking about prior to the break. Thomas contemplates Orleans Parish Police Chief elections. Perhaps the biggest revelation from our interview was Thomas's desire to move out of the appointment process for police chief. Thomas says, I'd really like to sit down with the folk in the city to see if it's time now to consider electing our next police chief, or at least having a committee of citizens involved in the review process, not just people from the government or people from the business community. I asked Thomas his opinion of Kirkpatrick's performance since her 2023 appointment. Thomas says, I'm open to sitting with Chief Patrick, as well as all the citizens in the community, to give her and anyone else who would apply an opportunity. I think she's earned the right, a couple of snafus, national and local, but she's earned the right to be considered. That is what he's quoted as saying in this WWL article. In response to that, and again, if there's a response from any of the other mayoral candidates that is public, I will find it and share it with you. But the only response that I've gotten personally is from former Judge Arthur Hunter. And it says, my opponent for mayor wants to bring politics into policing. Here's why it matters. As a former NOPD officer and a lawyer who's held police accountable, I know what it means to protect and serve from every side of the justice system. My opponent's plan will remove a key method of accountability by placing the chief of police, a political position elected every couple of years, creating senseless distractions and political games that take away the real work, keeping us safe. It's the mayor's job to keep the police accountable by making informed decisions as demanded by our communities and hiring a qualified chief with the skills and experience to do the job. But I need your support to show New Orleans won't stand for political excuses and games. It says, I will never give away my responsibility to protect the people of the city. And that is his response, Judge Arthur Hunter's response to Councilman Oliver Thomas' idea, because at this point he's floating the idea of having the police chief's position be elected as opposed to be appointed. And the opposition is saying that we don't need politics in policing. And so, again, if there's a statement out there by any of the other mayoral candidates, I will find it and share it with you. But once you start sharing your platform publicly and then folk are responding to it, I think it is our job to share that out to make certain that we understand what people's intentions are for the seat. I think that it's the best way to navigate the mud that's going to ultimately be in the water. We have to make it clear for people what is up for, what is at stake here. So again, the folk who are running is Ricky Twiggs, Renata Collins, Councilman Oliver Thomas, Councilwoman Helena Moreno, and former Judge Arthur Hunter. Those are the declared individuals thus far for the mayoral seat to replace current Mayor LaToya Cantrell. So there's that. There's also, I know a lot of y'all, I know a lot of people that I know actually have done or submitted their data to 23andMe. I don't know if you know, but if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. 23andMe is looking to sell customers' genetic data. And here's how to delete it. So they're telling you that 23andMe has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on Sunday and said it will pursue a sale after years of struggling to find a sustainable business model. That means the company and the genetic information of its 15 million customers will likely soon be up for grabs to the highest bidder. So if you've ever done a 23andMe, possibly looking for your genealogy or any type of familiar matches out there, just genetic testing as a whole, just be mindful that the company is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, and that whatever company decides to purchase 23andMe, they're also going to be purchasing your genetic material. And so I think it's very important that you protect it. It says there's a health insurance company that are interested in the data. There's a life insurance company that are interested in the data. Look, you got to take action to safeguard your data, and they're telling you how to delete your 23andMe account. So please make certain, if you've ever interfaced with 23andMe, if you've ever done any type of genealogy with them, any type of genetic testing with them, please be mindful that they have filed for bankruptcy protection and your data is now up for grabs to the highest bidder. Good morning, Reverend Calhoun. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. You know, one of the things I would like to hear from anybody in terms of their platform, what do they see in terms of how we're going to defend this city against the takeover that we see? And as you already know, this is from top down. The way that the president governs is to slash and burn anybody that stands against him. What I see happening is this coming down like we see at the state level. When you were talking earlier about the incarceration system, it's always going to be political because it's a money grab. There's a guy I wrote named Ron. Ronald spoke to something in our forum the other night that makes plenty sense. As our population at Angola ages, are they now trying to set up to make sure that they have an avenue to make sure that they have people work for 4 cents an hour to clean the fields and do whatever work that needs to be done at Angola? So this is a way bigger picture than I think anybody actually understands. We're talking about now electing the police chief. How sound are we with the election of our school board that's supposed to look out for our children? I'm having difficulties with all this. A meeting was scheduled tonight to have at MLK High School. Well, that meeting now has been moved to 6322 St. Claude, New Israel Baptist Church. The current administration that oversees the schools
don't want us to have a meeting there with the parents and the teachers. As you recall, I invited our school board to come talk to the parents and the teachers and the people that's being laid off concerning their decision to deauthorize MLK High School. So at this point, we want everybody, the meeting is still going to go on. It's just going to be at a different location. But I'm just trying to find out, is the elections, we can't give up on the process, but if you look at what Donald Trump and all these people are really doing, they're destroying it. We are getting completely away from democracy and creating, I don't know what Trump is going to call it. I guess something, Trumpism or something. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I see, Dr. Wyatt.
No, I appreciate you, Rev. Thank you for calling in.
All right.
I think that's a very valid point. Like anybody who's running for mayor, I think that's a very solid point. Like what are your plans to protect New Orleans? Because whether you want to say it out loud or not, New Orleans is being targeted. New Orleans, in my opinion, is under siege right now. And they're looking and planning every single day to get into any crevice that they can exploit to eventually take hold of it. What are you going to do to protect it? Y'all stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. A measure banning DEI initiatives at Ohio public colleges is close to becoming law. The Senate passed Senate Bill 1, which also bans faculty strikes. It's now awaiting Governor DeWine's signature, with the Ohio Legislative Black Caucus urging a veto. President Trump may extend the TikTok ban deadline and reduce tariffs if China approves a U.S. brokered deal. TikTok's fate is uncertain, as ByteDance must sell to a non-Chinese buyer or face a ban. Edric Wilson, a 47-year-old black man from Texas, was released after spending 18 years in Harris County Jail without a trial. He was charged with murder and aggravated assault in 2006. There were disputes over his mental competency, which he called a stall tactic. And a partial solar eclipse will be visible early Saturday from Washington, D.C. to eastern Canada, with the best view in Maine. It will end around 7 a.m. Viewers should wear protective glasses. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The New Orleans Teacher Job Board is hosting a citywide career fair for current and future educators. Explore open school positions, teacher certification pathways, and career growth opportunities. The career fair will take place this Saturday, April 5th, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. at Walter L. Cohen High School. Visit newschoolsforneworleans.org for more information and registration.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Happy Thursday, happy Women's History Month. Please do not forget, this Saturday is Election Day, March 29th. The polls open at 7. They close at 8. If you get in the line at 7:58, stay there, because you can still vote. We need you at the polls, and we're asking you to vote no across the board. And again, if any of the mayoral candidates are listening and they had any input as it relates to Councilman Oliver Thomas's idea to make the police chief's position an elected position as opposed to an appointed position, or former Judge Arthur Hunter's response to that idea by saying there's no place for policing and for politics and policing. If you want to join that conversation or you have a statement you would like to share with us here at WBOK, please feel free to do so. The number is 504-582-9422. Here's the thing. We were talking about, this governmental overreach earlier in the show. We were talking about this idea of the governor building this juvenile, or not building it, but putting almost $40 million into a juvenile facility in Alexandria. I mean, they make it sound like it's such a resort type of vibe going on over there. But we need to be very clear about what is happening on the national level, because everything that is happening seemingly on a federal level, it's being implemented or tried or like test dummied right here in the state of Louisiana. And it's very, very scary, because I still don't know the update to Mahmoud Khalil, the young man that was taken from his home and eventually sent here to the state of Louisiana in some sort of effort to detain him for speaking out, using his First Amendment right to speak against what he feels like is genocide, basically. And so armed folk went to his home, pulled him out of there. And the last I heard, he was here in Louisiana. Where in Louisiana, I'm not certain, but he was here in Louisiana. And the reason I'm referencing his case is because there's a Tufts University student. I watched this happen on video, and the young lady was walking, and you can see she's just walking. She has a backpack on. And she was either coming from class or on her way to class. Whatever she was doing, she was on the campus. It says, as the sun began to set Tuesday over Somerville, Massachusetts, Turkish national Ramisha Ozturk, forgive me if that is not how you pronounce your name, sweetheart, was on her way to meet friends. Oh, she was on her way to meet friends. She still had a backpack on, so she was coming from class, going to dinner with her friends where they would break their Ramadan fast. But she would never make it to the gathering, according to her attorney. Instead, the 30-year-old was arrested and physically restrained by immigration officers near her apartment, close to Tufts University's Somerville campus, where she was a PhD student. Neighborhood surveillance video shows 6 plainclothes officers surrounding the young woman as she walked alone. The officers only showed their badges after she was restrained with her hands behind her back. She is one of several foreign nationals affiliated with prestigious American universities to be arrested under the Trump administration for purported activities related to terrorist organizations, including Mahmoud Khalil, a prominent Palestinian activist who was taken into custody at his Columbia University housing earlier this month. Ozturk engaged in activities in support of Hamas, a Department of Homeland Security spokesperson said in a statement Wednesday. The spokesperson didn't specify what those alleged activities were. No charges have been filed against Ozturk, her attorney told CNN, but here's what we know about her arrest. She's a PhD student on a valid F-1 visa, which allowed international students to pursue full-time academic studies in the States. She co-wrote an op-ed in the school's newspaper where she criticized the university's response to the pro-Palestine movement. Tufts University officials said the school had no prior knowledge of the arrest. So something about this is jarring and alarming to me, and I'm not certain how, as American citizens, we could, there's really no unified pushback about what is happening here. And the reason I'm just so eyes wide open on it is because if they can start to snatch people off the streets who have valid documentation to account for their presence in this country, where will they draw the line? This is why this conversation about this real ID stuff, this passport stuff, like you now have to prove that you are an American citizen by their standard. They want you to prove so that you can vote, because we all know that's what this is all about. This is about seizing power and having ultimate control over every facet of this government. Because if you have control over the government, you control its people. That's what it's about. And if we allow things like this to happen where folk, though they may be foreign, they're here legally, they have documentation to support their presence here. If we're going to just circumvent that, then where do we draw the line? They're trying to end the birthright citizenship. Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line? Are we gonna go back to the days where only the white men can vote? Are we gonna do that? Is that where we're headed? Because I can remember a journalist on national TV saying that if his wife voted opposite of him, it would be like an affair, like a betrayal that will warrant divorce. Where do we draw the line when they're attacking naturalized citizens, right? People who are here legally, people who are born in this country, they want to end the birthright citizenship. And to what end? To what end? They're gonna start to tell us, y'all don't belong here either. I know we stole y'all from y'all land and threw y'all on boats about £1 and shipped y'all on over here, but we tired of y'all being here. It's time for you to go. You've done what you needed to do. You built the country already, brick by brick. We stole every one of your inventions. We stole all your land. That's where all our prestigious universities are built at, on stolen land. We did it already. We got everything we want to get out. It's time for you to get back on that boat and get out of here. You think that's above them? You think that's above them? Nobody stopped them from snatching us to bring us over here to begin with. What's to stop them from snatching us and sending us away from here? But you see, that would require them to have to then work for themselves, by themselves, on their own merit. So, they might think a little hard and long about that one. But what's to stop them if that's what they wanted to do? What you say, T-Bone? Good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Doc.
How you doing?
I appreciate you saying this, because I've been yelling this since the beginning. See, Trump's side and those folks from which that voted for him, these folks are not going to stop. That line you're talking about, they're going to keep erasing it. See, because when you voted for them, they think that you are agreeing with them 120%. The black voters that voted for this, you agree with them 120%. And you know what's going to come next? Anytime somebody mentions Trump in a negative way, they're going to take them and throw them in Angola. They're already doing this. And you know who else does this? Vladimir Putin. Remember that activist that spoke out against him, that died in prison and left a widow behind?
Yes.
That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. Donald J. Trump withdrew Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and any other black activist, including Tavis Smiley, who's on this station, in jail right now. Soon as he can get it written into law. That's where we're headed. This station, gone. The black stations that you have right now, if they don't just play music and they say something negative about him, all them people that say something, gone. Breakfast Club, gone. Steve Harvey says he's not on T. Trump, gone. Wake up, people. This is what you voted for. Is this really what you want? Because, see, I know some of y'all that still won't acknowledge that Africa is the birthplace of everybody. And I know y'all ain't trying to go back there. I've been, and it's a beautiful place. Forget what you heard. Get your money together and go find out. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not America. You will not have the same rights. We talking about rights right now being diminished by Donald J. Trump. They deal with true dictators in parts of Africa. People get yanked out of their houses and may not get seen again. Yeah. Look at what happened to Lupita Nyong'o's dad. He was an activist in Kenya. People yanked him from his house and then put him in a building for 30 days and tortured the man. He was lucky to come out alive. That's what we're headed for. Is this what you truly want? For your sons, your fathers, your daughters, your mothers, your auntie and them? Truly?
Yeah.
Something's wrong with you if you do.
Absolutely. Look, T-Bone, I'm with you when you're right. Something is absolutely wrong. I appreciate you for calling in. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. Have a better day.
Listen, I appreciate each and every WBOK listener, caller. I appreciate those of you in the chat. But it's almost like preaching to the choir with the folk that we have listening to this show, because we're all kind of tapped in a way where we can see the forest for the trees. We have to figure out a way to reach the folk who can't seem to focus on the main thing. In addition to this administration allowing plainclothes ICE agents to roam our communities around prestigious universities looking for who they deem are foreign activists and snatching them off the street, the Trump administration ends legal representation for unaccompanied children. 26,000 children will be forced to represent themselves in court. The sudden, near-fatal termination of federally funded legal defense services for unaccompanied children threatens their rights and safety. This puts children in danger of trafficking and abuse. This is unacceptable. Listen, we don't seem to be a country that cares about humanity anymore, children anymore. There once was a time where at least the children were safe, right? Up till a certain age, because y'all start to demonize black children very, very early. They real cute and cuddly when they born, and then as soon as they get a little taller and grow a little facial hair, all of a sudden, they're not talked about as kids anymore. Y'all talk about our children like they're men when they're 12 and 13 years old. They're babies. So 26,000 children have to represent themselves in court. Like, there has to be some sort of law that protects this, but he's just stripping everything away. And then I don't even think he believes that he can really do it. I just think he wants to disrupt everything long enough that it destroys itself. You just keep blocking and writing things and throwing things out there, and you're just clogging the system with foolishness. It's smoke and mirrors so that we don't pay attention to what y'all really up to. Where do we draw the line? But before we go to break, I'm going to tell y'all real quickly about this incident. I'm sure you've heard. 3 teens accused in a chase that killed a St. Tammany sergeant. Baby, they set them a bond. Could you imagine? I knew when they set them a bond, they didn't look like my child. I knew that. I didn't even have to see the picture, but I knew it. 3 17-year-old boys are facing first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder charges following a daily police chase in St. Tammany Parish. One of the young men is believed to be the driver during the chase that ended with a deputy dead has been denied bond. The other 2 are out on bond. A Judge Cannon will order that they're put in they say that they've been moved to a different facility, though the exact location has been made public. The co-defendants, I'm not naming these kids, remain in custody in St. Tammany Parish, at least for now. Fisher is now out after posting his bond on Wednesday. Defense attorneys say the difference in bond amounts, or even whether the bond is allowed, often depends on the specific roles each defendant allegedly played. Now, I didn't know that was how that went. I thought if they all was in the car, Naren, if they all was in the car and the police died, now we're weighing culpability based on the role that they played. I remember the Lindy Fricky thing that happened right here in New Orleans. I don't think it went like that. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong if y'all listening. I don't remember it going like that. But you know, who am I? I'm just an observer of processes, right? I want equity in all systems. That's all I want. I want accountability for everybody based on the policy, the laws, the legislation, whatever. It should be uniform. We shouldn't pick and choose how we handle folk in this judicial system. You break the law if it's about the policy. If it's about the law, let it mirror the law. Let it mirror the policy. Don't give me something different because I'm black and poor and give him something different because he's white and wealthy. It don't work like that. There's a police officer that's dead. He dead. And we talking bond. We talking what role each person played, and they all was in the same vehicle that killed the police officer. Let's talk about it. But we're going to have to do it on the other side of the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Good morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. 4 people are accused of leading street takeovers using vehicles and pedestrians to block roads in high-traffic areas in New Orleans. State police say one of these incidents happened on Mardi Gras Day on Chef Mentor Highway. Troopers say some of the arrests escalated into chases across the city. Brody Gotro, Kane Smith, and Deontay Belvin and Adele Nasheer are all facing various charges. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell could be heading to the nation's capital on the same day a judge has scheduled a hearing on the city's council's employee travel ban. Mayor Cantrell is listed as a U.S. delegator for a trade summit happening tomorrow. That includes mayors from Canada and Mexico. Supporters of the travel ban say there are more pressing matters here at home than meeting with mayors across North America in D.C. Cantrell's office has not responded to our requests about if she will attend the conference. Our big changes could be heading for the University of New Orleans. The Louisiana Board of Regents recommended moving UNO back to the LSU system. The move is intended to help with the university's budget crisis. UNO has been grappling with a $10 million budget gap recently and made the tough move to fire and furlough some employees. The next steps are the creation of a transition team, but legislation is still required to make the move happen. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community?
Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 a.m.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 a.m.
Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. My super producer, Nyron Sanders, is also in the building, making certain that everything goes off the way it's supposed to go off. If you're just joining us, we were in conversation about a little bit of everything all over the place, but it is Women's History Month. It's still March, so it's still Women's History Month. And in studio with me right now, I have the founder and CEO of the Career Immersion and Leadership Institute, also known as CILI, Mr. Perry Shows, and he's going to be joined by members of some students, right?
You have some
students and a board member. Dr. Lewis is also going to join us. We're going to talk about female students in the program because it's Women's History Month. Shout out to the trailblazing, trend-setting women of the Career Immersion and Leadership Institute. Welcome to the show this morning. How you doing?
I'm good. I am really good. I'm excited. Since the beginning, 60+% of our cohorts have been female. And we've seen them just really blossom and take on some really great opportunities from a standpoint of working their way into their careers and understanding what that looks like. And many of them are leaders in either student organizations or on their campus, or we'll hear from one that's joining us has created an organization on her own with the group and is leading it on campus. And
is that Miss Robinson?
That is Miss Gillum.
Miss Gillum. Good morning, Miss Gillum and Miss Robinson. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good.
You doing good. So, Ms. Gillum, talk to us about your experience with the Career Immersion and Leadership Institute.
Yes, so working with CILI, it's really honestly one of just the best decisions that I've made, and just a really good opportunity because we just literally had an immersion last week, and we just had real conversations about being in the work field and things that, some of our own fears that may pull us back, but our coaches is kind of giving us encouragement about how to go, especially as Black and brown people going into these areas, learning to dominate and be confident and things like that. So I think it's just a beautiful thing because we learning so many things that I wouldn't really know or understand just going into the work field blind. So it's really been just a wonderful and great experience.
Ms. Robinson, can you talk to us about any skills you've gained from the Career Immersion and Leadership Institute?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Yes, ma'am. A lot of the skills that I've gained from CILI, just from the few months that we have met with each other, is confidence. Being very confident in whatever it is that you bring to the table, and being able to showcase it no matter how small you believe it is. That's a very big thing that I've learned from CILI, and a very big thing that I have applied ever since our winter session. A few other skills that I have come to understand when it comes to going into the workforce is professionalism and really owning what it is that you bring to the table, but being able to craft that in a way where you can, because we're college students. So, our experiences in the world are a little bit different, especially when it comes to social media. So being able to craft what it is that we're doing and being able to really showcase that in a professional setting so that we can relate and interact and network with people who are older and people who can give us more wisdom, those are two things that I've come to really understand and appreciate about Sealy.
And just say that Miss Robinson is pre-med, wants to be an OBGYN, so she is a doctor in training and really wants to be a doctor that sort of empowers women to understand, themselves and all that stuff and be of service. So,
well, shout out to you, Miss Robinson. Good morning, Dr. Lewis. Welcome to the Good Morning Show and happy Women's History Month.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So glad to be here.
Listen, so because it's Women's History Month, right? Like they talk about a month, but it's Women's History every single day.
Every day.
How does the Career Immersion and Leadership Institute address the specific needs of young women of color in your programs?
And so it's in with Sealy, it's about early exposure, right? And so with early exposure into careers, into life, it exposes them to early mentorship where they can actually see what they want to be, and that's very important. So sometimes we may have a desire as women to do things to empower people, and we're already really equipped because we're born with everything already inside of us, but we have to have someone to pull it out of us. That's the purpose of education. When you think about the root word, where it comes from educere, where you're just pulling out what's in you. And so it's very important that we partner them with people, with organizations, with corporations to make sure that they're able to see it, to experience it, as we know the workforce is ever evolving. And so you're not just going to get the skills that you need just inside of a classroom at a university. You have to be in the marketplace as well because things are changing every day. And so to stay abreast of it, we want to put them into the profession very early so they can see it already be exposed, and it makes them more marketable because they've already had the experience.
Yep.
So that's very important as us as women, especially as Black women.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Perry,
yes.
Can you share any success stories or specific examples of female students who have benefited from Sealy's programs and gone on to achieve success in their careers? I mean, I think having a student on the line that's aspiring to be an OBGYN is, it's what's needed, especially when you think about the maternal death rate in our community, right? And so I shout out to you for going into that profession because we need representation matters, right? When we go into these spaces. So can you talk to us about any specific success stories that you've had through Sealy?
Yeah, I mean, we were on a month or so ago, and we had a young lady who, Kennedy Moore, played soccer at Grambling, went to University of Miami, interned at the Water Collaborative 2 summers. She is now full-time working as a policy analyst at the Water Collaborative in her field of study, right? So she's already through the work of getting exposure to her career, meeting a leader who saw her potential, and then that leader then making space in her organization to bring her in. So where we call the money shot, if we can get a student into an organization before they graduate, they demonstrate their skill set, that leaders recognize that, and they walk across the stage with a diploma and a job, right? And then begin their career. So that's just one of our students who have, success. And even while in campus. So Ms. Gillum is part of a Women in Christ organization that was created at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. And she is, the next leader, the second leader of that organization. And so she's empowering and working with women on campus, young ladies on campus, to have a balance around their faith while they're at school and all that stuff. So it's another level of leadership.
So Ms. Gillum is a raging Cajun.
She's a raging Cajun.
She's a raging Cajun. My son is a raging Cajun. So that's what caught my attention. Dr. Lewis, what challenges do you believe young women of color face in professional environments, and how does Sealy equip them to overcome these obstacles?
So one of the things that as Black women we face is finding our voice. at a table that many people don't look like us, especially in corporate spaces. And so one thing Sealy will provide is that confidence for them to be able to use their voice, how to interject, how to be innovative, how to make a difference in their field as well. So as you can see with the young ladies that we have on, they're already thinking about it. They just need to be empowered and continue to be crowned with the confidence to be able to go into those spaces and make waves, but good waves, right? Not just to be difficult, but to truly make a difference, because the work that we do now is impacting the next generation and the next generation. So we want to be able to make sure that we're making space for people to follow us. So it's very important that we give them the confidence to make sure that they can know how to use their voice and owning their voice, and also making sure that they understand who they are, so making sure they have and know their identity and what they're built to do.
So, Ms. Gillum, as Women's History Month is being celebrated, what do you think are the unique challenges that young women of color face in today's professional environment?
I would say just being seen as we're enough. I think a lot of times we have this narrative that, like, you know, we have to do the most, we have to go above and beyond to just be seen and to be enough. But I think the reality is we are enough already without any of the, you know, extra things, that we are enough. And I think having to try to prove that to the world, it's like just to be seen as enough, I would say would be a challenge. But really coming to understand that, you know, the way that we come is, you know, the best way, regardless of, you know, any extras that we do. You know, Black women, we are just a beautiful thing, and we are enough as it is.
I absolutely agree. Ms. Robinson, in what ways do you think women can support each other in professional development, and how have you seen this play out in Sealy's program?
Big ways that I believe that Black women should support each other is we need to be able to build a community within our workforces. Like Ms. Gillum said, there's a lot of times where we don't feel seen, and so we have to do extra. We have to put in extra work. We have to keep our head down and make sure that we are seen, and sometimes, you know, our fellow Blacks can get left behind in the workforce rather than, you know, every female for themselves sometimes. What we do need to do is build those communities, and we do need to tag team, and we do need to get together in order to make sure that each and every one of us are elevating. Some of the ways in which I've seen this, my mother is a business owner. Her business is Daraja Consulting, and she does human resources work. And from what I've seen throughout her career as I've grown up, is that no matter if she's the boss, no matter if she is on the same level as her other managers or her other team leaders, or even if she's working underneath her boss, my mom is always going to check on her fellow Black women. She is always going to make sure, are you okay? Make sure that you're pacing yourself. Make sure that this is done. She's always going to check in, and she's always going to make sure that, you know, a fellow woman is okay. And I feel as though those are things that need to happen more so within the workforce. And I feel like those are things that would be a lot more inviting toward the women and the Black women who are trying to come in and actually make a difference. Because, as Ms. Durham said, we are enough. And we do come and we add in all the things that allow for these companies and these ideas to truly flourish.
I'm with you when you're right. I'm with you when you're right.
Preach.
Mr. Schultz, in your opinion, how can academic institutions, organizations, and programs like Sealy collaborate more effectively to support the professional development of young women, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are right now looking for employers to host students this summer for internship opportunities, right? And so You know, that's one way. If you own a business, even a small business, run a nonprofit, if you're in a leadership position, that you can create an opportunity, create a space that you can bring a young female into that space and help to show them the business, nurture, coach, as they talk about here, give them the opportunity to show their brilliance. And like Dr. Lewis says, it's already there. We know that already from Sealy. When we're selecting our cohorts, we're listening for that in their voices. They're giving us their pitch on interviewing to come into the program. And so really it's an opportunity for us to say, yes, we know we can help you, and then help shine that. So if you have an opportunity in your business, nonprofit, whatever, you know, we're looking for employers. There's a process on our website to sign up, connect with us. Everything we do requires funding. And so if you can help us financially, $5, $100, $1,000, $1 million, all of that really supports our work.
Go home, huh, Perry?
Absolutely.
$1 million? Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, 65% or more of our cohort is female. And so that any investment is going to, you know, be leaned heavily in that sort of, you know, helping in that gender. And like last summer, our students, we had 68 students had paid internships. They earned about $300,000, 60-something% of that, we're talking $200,000, that was earned last summer specifically by our female, you know, cohort. So economically, you know, we're doing the work to make sure that they're prepared and they're rocking it out. And so for us, we're in our 5th year. We know we have brilliant students that, you know, will deliver. We're preparing them to deliver. As you know, Lashara talked about, we're in class last Saturday. Every Saturday, pretty much a month, we're with a group of students and we're talking about professionalism. What does the next level look like? We're talking about legacy. You know, we're talking about financial literacy. We're trying to build really great citizens, if you will. We go back to like W.E. Du Bois, you know, Talent to 10th is some of the foundation that's built into the program. And so, you know, we're doing that work, and, you know, I love it. You know, Lashara and Leah, or, you know, some of the new cohort, and have really, really bright futures. And as you can tell from the phone, you know, they are, you know, just amazing.
They are. And Dr. Lewis, how can we further encourage other institutions to create similar initiatives to bridge gaps for young women of color and reduce disparities in the workforce?
I think it's important that as women that are already in the workforce, that we continue to build these tables. One, as you mentioned earlier, with each other. So I think we have to come together and unify as Black women in this community and continue to reach back using that Sankofa method to continue to bring others forward. So we have to continue to build the tables and make the tables for the young women that look like us.
Absolutely. And listen, I want to thank the young ladies for being on the call, and again say Happy Women's History Month, because we have to start to think relay systems in this country in terms of our community. We have to be able to pass batons to people.
Sure.
And we have to be able to grow folks so that they are able to receive our batons. So shout out to Ms. Gillum and Ms. Robinson for being on the call. But you got about a minute. Like, encourage folk. What do we do? How do we support CLE? How do we get folk to be interested in being a part of what the Career Immersion and Leadership Institute is doing?
Yeah, so go to our website. You can either Google CLE, which is CILI, and you'll find us, or you can go to internshiptalent.org. On our front page, you'll see all the work that we do. There's a big, huge yellow donate button. So you could click that button, like I said, $1, $5, a million.
If you got it like that,
if you have it like that. You know, as Leah talked about, her mother is a dear, dear friend of mine, powerhouse. She's been coaching and helping to structure this program and make it successful since its beginning. So if you are a leader and you want to give back, be a coach, join our board of directors. We are woman-led and have been for, the last probably 4 or 5 years. We're super excited to have Dr. Lewis, as our chair. Now I'm learning a ton from her. I'm baby and 2 older sisters, single parent, so I've been woman-led for most of my life.
Yeah.
And so this is it's great and inspiring to have our board being woman-led, and then again doing the work that the students. So www.internshiptalent.org. Please contact us, donate, help us do the work that we're doing. It's a village, and I spent the weekend with Lashara. Next weekend I will be with Leah. So every week I'm like getting this energy from being around them, and that's what keeps me young.
Well, listen, we appreciate the work that you're doing, Mr. Perry, but because it's Women's Sister Month, we're going to give Dr. Lewis the last say.
Absolutely.
Before we exit the airwaves.
She's
so
the boss
Dr.
anyway.
Lewis, is there anything you want to share with the listening audience? You're welcome, Dr. Lewis. Go ahead.
I just don't want this conversation to just stay dormant. So those that are out there listening, please consider and think about how you can invest. Investments is just not with money. It's also with time. It's also with your resources. So any way that you think you can support Sealy as we continue to forge ahead and move forward and make this a very global organization, it will be truly, truly appreciated. And I just thank you for the opportunity to share and to showcase Ms. Robinson and Ms. Gilliam on the great work that Sealy is doing in the community and across this state.
Absolutely.
And
well, thank y'all for being
world.
here. Thank you
Yes,
for being
thanks.
here. Mr.
Thank
Perry,
you.
thank you
Yep.
for joining us, Dr. Lewis. And shout out to the young powerhouse women we also had on the
Yes.
call, Ms. Gillum and Ms. Robinson. Thank y'all so much for joining us. And if you want to donate or help out the folk from the Career Immersion and Leadership Institute, please Google Sealy and take a look at all of the phenomenal work that they're doing. But stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Mild and muggy Thursday expected. Mostly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers possible. Most of us will stay dry. Highs reach the low 80s. Lows are warm tonight in the low to mid 60s. Few afternoon showers possible for Friday. Highs in the upper 70s to low 80s. Heavy rain possible throughout the day on Saturday. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
The National World War II Museum, located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans. The National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Hey, everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. If you're just joining us, you missed the conversation with the CEO of Career Immersion and Leadership Institute, Mr. Perry Shows. He was also on the call with, well, he was in studio, but on the call were two students, Miss Gillum and Miss Robinson, as well as a board member, Dr. Lewis. They were talking about just the women in the program. Because it's Women History Month, they were highlighting all of the wonderful initiatives that they have going on with the CILI program. And once again, you can Google CILI, that is CILI, to see all of the wonderful things that they're doing. And if you want to participate, not just with your money, but with your time, you can also do that. But at this moment, we are getting ready to jump into conversation with Morgan Walker, the CEO of Bike and Vote. She's going to be talking about women in entrepreneurship and why voting matters and the importance of representation. Good morning, Morgan. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Hey, girl, we're good. We're good. Listen, there's some a huge mayoral election that everybody's prepping for. There's some proposed constitutional amendments that are on the ballot this weekend. I just want to know, what is Bike and Vote doing to make certain that we encourage people not to fall out of love with the democratic process and to make certain that we get to the polls on Saturday?
Yeah, so we hosted 2 lives last week during early voting. As you guys know, Bike and Vote is a program that promotes early voting. We provide free bikes to the community during early voting, and we definitely try to get out for each election. The weather wasn't on our side during early voting last week, and then it's looking kind of rainy for this Saturday. But we wanted to, get on social, get active. We have the amendments up on our social media page, but we just want to get the information to the people so that way they know, hey, voting is happening, elections are happening, and we just want to make sure we expose them to the information to go ahead and get up and get out there and vote, especially this Saturday if you missed early voting throughout the week. So that's really, the messaging today is to really just encourage everybody to, Saturday, if you haven't early voted, just take the time out. You text a few people, call a few people, and head out to the polls,
Absolutely. And so I know that Bike and Vote is deeply connected to voting advocacy. Why do you believe it's so important for people, especially women, to exercise their right to vote?
Because we fought for this right to be able to vote and to be able to have a voice in our communities. And I always love to push local elections because that's very important to our well-being and our day-to-day endeavors. So especially for women and women of color, Black women like myself, it's not always a time where our grandparents were able to vote or some of our parents were able to vote. And they really stood up for us to be able to have this right and use our voice to stand up and stand for something. A vote is a proactive step to really empowering our community and putting people in place and things and, laws in place that benefits the community. And we do that by exercising our civic duty to vote. That really empowers the community. So I really try to push that and let people know we have power within vote, especially because, listen, if things aren't going our way, we look at those ballots and we look at things that's going on in our community. It starts mainly sometimes with a vote. These things can affect us years from now. So I really, really want to take the time to encourage my peers to get out and vote. Look at those amendments that's on the ballot. Is you voting yes or no? It's a multiple choice. It's no way you can't take 10 minutes out your day to go vote about a law that will affect us years from now and affect our children and our grandchildren years from now. So let's get out this vote. And then, like you said, in the fall, we have another duty to do as far as our mayoral campaign and city council and things like that.
Absolutely. So how does Bike and Vote specifically work to engage women, particularly those who may feel disenfranchised in the political process? Because the conversation lately has been about voter apathy. Like, why can't we get more than 10%, 11% of folk to get out and vote when this city is heavily African-American? And what is that
think
barrier?
I lost you.
Can you hear me now, Morgan? Is she there?
Uh-oh.
I don't know if we lost her. Did we lose you, Megan? Look, Morgan, I appreciate you. Look, we lost her, but we appreciate her for joining us this morning, talking about the importance of voting. And what she said that should resonate with all of us is, especially these local elections. The local elections impact your day-to-day, everyday way of life. If you do nothing else, you have to take control of the power that you can seize. You might be unhappy about the state of the country on a federal level, but if you can engage locally, you can lift your voice and vote locally, it will go a long way in terms of how you impact your day-to-day and exercise your day-to-day way of living. So we appreciate Morgan Walker, the CEO of Bike and Vote, for joining us this morning. I don't know what the connection was. We had a little issue, but the little short time that we did have her, the takeaway is to make certain that you do your part to get out and vote. And even after you voted, we got her back? Even after you voted, I'm sorry, Morgan, I don't know how we lost you, but even after you voted, encourage people to go to the polls and vote. So what I was asking you, Morgan, before we lost you, is there's a sense of apathy that's going around. People are feeling disengaged from the process because they don't feel like they're getting anything for their vote. What will you tell people in terms of apathy? How do you encourage them to still stay in the fight?
I think they have to, look within themselves and also look at what's going on around us, in the community. Everything isn't always going to be fun. Everything isn't always going to have something to do with you personally. I think when we're voting, we're not voting just for ourselves. We have to think bigger than that. We have to think that this is a time right now where I'm needed. You're needed. The community is needed. If you can, you have to vote, because they have people that, some people really can't get out and vote. So we have to look at it differently and change your perspective and open your mind, to really just self-motivate and also, get motivation from others, where it's like maybe your neighbor can't make it to the poll. She, may have to work, 2 shifts, 2-3 jobs to keep afloat. And she's not able to take a lunch break and go vote. So we have to step up for each other in our community. So I think that's how I continue to keep going. And, we all get voter apathy. It's not always, I always feel like, stopping some of the things that I'm doing to go vote. But I prioritize it. I know that my kids and my neighbors and my community needs me. And I think when we all kind of look at it from that perspective, I think that'll really, change some people's mind about, hey, I can't vote this time. I can't do it. But don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about it. Don't beat yourself up about it. But let's make some changes and let's step up. So that's really how I try to keep myself motivated as well. So
well, thank you, Morgan. I hate that we lost you for that little split second, but the little time that we did have you is very powerful. So thank you for what you do in terms of getting out folk to vote, merging advocacy with the health of also riding a bike. It's a dynamic idea. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for joining us this morning. As always, you're always welcome here at WBOK to share any information that you think that our listening audience can benefit from. The seat here is always open for you. So thank you for joining us this morning.
I appreciate that so much. See y'all at the polls Saturday. Please get out and vote, y'all.
See you at the polls. Have a great one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Listen, y'all, Election Day is this Saturday, March 29th. The polls open at 7. The polls close at 8. Please get out and vote. If you've already voted, go on your cell phone and text 10, 20 people and remind them if they have not voted, they have one last opportunity this Saturday. The polls open at 7. We're asking you to vote no across the board to all 4 proposed constitutional amendments. Y'all stay tuned. Up next for the Front Porch with Grayling and Kimber, as far as the Good Morning Show and Dr. Ashanta White and my super producer, Nyron Sanders. We're going to see y'all on the other side. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.